Dope boy excellence. Elevation. Cool and Dre. Big blunts, dope boys wanna smoke with me. Now we ride double M's through the whole city. Niggas talking down, but they always feel me. A 9-figure nigga, all I wanna talk is business. I seen a big mouth get a closed casket. Self-made, took over the whole racket. A kilo after kilo, see who moved the most. 200-foot yacht, she wanna see the coast. You can't be chasing money with the wrong approach. Commas only coming once you got a coach. I'm the Walt Frazier, that's for all ages. The Don shooter, nigga, tall lasers. Bitch boys running social media. Rich nigga naming Wikipedia. If I fuck her once, she wanna fuck me twice. All the real niggas click up, let's get rich tonight.
Only the real recognize real high. Give me something I can feel, so right now this real high. This pandemic infectious.
All right, guys. Hello. It's the first live stream that I'm ever doing on Deep Fried Crypto. Welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining. Thanks for everyone that's viewing right now, both from my YouTube audience, anyone that found this video, as well as any of my friends from Elite Shadow Trading or other places. So glad to be here. Let's get started. Jump into it. A lot of stuff is going on today. A lot of movement in the markets. And I just wanted to make a live stream and touch on this and get the ball rolling. So let's dive in and look at the charts here. All right, so in case you hadn't noticed, things got a little interesting this morning. So Bitcoin shot up all the way to a little over 38,000, and ETH went on a nice rally as well over 2,000, approaching 2,100 now. And yeah, people have been going crazy. There's been a lot of speculation. Twitter's been going nuts. Just everyone's been talking about it. Is the bull here? Is this a fake out and are we going to dump again? Let's jump into it. So a lot of the rally that took place earlier, at least for ETH, is related to Blackrock. So Blackrock confirmed an ETH ETF filing via NASDAQ Rule 5711D. So I'm gonna hop over here to this so you can see this. So as you can see, the iShares Ethereum Trust, the screenshots below, this was filed. And similar to when BlackRock filed for their Bitcoin ETF application, they did this about 7 days before they actually filed the application. So there's a lot of speculation that the same thing is taking place for Ethereum, that there's going to be a Ethereum ETF. And a lot of the movement that's been going on today has been related to the Bitcoin spot ETFs, likely getting approved soon. So before I jump into that, I'm just going to pop over here to Raul. He's got a good take on the ETH ETF. So it's the holy grail for asset managers, as they can capture the yield and only give price performance to the ETF holders. So essentially what he's talking about is BlackRock and these other institutional investors, their staking yields and returns, they're going to be able to pocket that and essentially just give the actual price movement of ETH going up through a bull market, for instance, to the people that buy into the ETF, and they'll be able to pocket that yield or put it to use in other ways. So he's definitely right about that. It's more appealing, in my opinion, by a landslide than Bitcoin, just simply because of the yield to institutional investors. So I would not be surprised if after all of these Bitcoin ETFs are approved, that a slew of different ETH ETFs are approved as well. So right now, BlackRock's the only one that filed, but I expect to see over the next few days even more filings than that. So. And just in terms of ETH, he also had an interesting take here on X. So the weekly DeMark 9 count for the ETH BTC cross, ETH is a lot likely, or most likely outperforms from here as per usual in this stage in late crypto spring. So personally, I agree with him. I've been through multiple cycles now, and usually right as we're moving back into a crypto spring coming out of the winter, ETH usually does start to run and pop up quite aggressively. So be nice to see that. And diving into things here for the 12 Bitcoin ETFs. So some news came out that there's actually an 8-day window between late yesterday and November 17th for the 12 spot Bitcoin ETF filings that they could actually be approved. So they are in talks again with Grayscale, and likely with where things sit now, if they don't wait until January to approve and then do them one by one, with them opening up conversations with Grayscale at this point, it would make a lot more sense for them to approve all of them all at once. So that way it doesn't look like they've been favoring anybody. Nobody comes first, second, third, which could lead to potential lawsuits or issues or things down the road. So there's a lot of speculation that sometime in the next 7 days, so to speak, or sorry, 8 days, well, 7 days now, that all 12 could likely be approved by the SEC. So that is what has affected the price all the way up to about 38,000 plus earlier today for Bitcoin, in addition to what we were talking about with ETH. Moving along, other coins aren't necessarily faring as well. There's a few that have been running and doing quite well. Lido up almost 20%, FTT 57.8%. So that is actually the FTX tokens. So the SEC has said that there is a possibility of FTX reopening under new ownership. So I think that has a lot to do with what this rally is. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit later as I go through things here as well. But yeah, other than that, a few runners, Caspa, Rune. Other than that, everything else is kind of down a little bit or mostly flat. So moving along, let's dive into, what's a good one here? Jerome Powell. So Jerome Powell made some hawkish remarks today at a panel on monetary policy changes or challenges at the IMF, and actually someone stormed in there talking about climate change, and he actually told them to close the effing door, which is pretty funny in my opinion. Twitter's having some fun with that one, but essentially Powell announced that the U.S. Fed is going to begin its next framework review in the second half of 24. They're going to be acting carefully and make decisions meeting by meeting, so nothing really new on that front. They're pleased with the progress made on inflation, but there is still a long way to go. There's concerns about reaching the 2% inflation target. They're not sure if they've actually achieved that target because there's a few confusions. Them playing with the numbers. So essentially what they're saying is there could be further tightening to come, and they're going to watch it meeting by meeting. So is there anything super new about that? No, but nonetheless, hawkish, I guess, as you could put it. Next up, Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy Bitcoin investment is now at $1 billion unrealized profit with the rally. So Michael Saylor is once again the champion of Bitcoin and Bitcoin Twitter with MicroStrategy and his bold bets. So I would not be surprised if this number increased significantly from here, and I have a feeling they're going to continue to buy going forward. They were buying in the bull market as well as the bear market. So Michael Saylor is moving right along. All right. Let me pop over to this. So Illuvium. We'll touch on crypto gaming a little bit for a minute. So Illuvium has done quite well over the last few days. It is one of the larger, well-known crypto gaming coins, which is a hot sector. And I think a lot of crypto gaming coins, along with a lot of other streamers, crypto content creators, etc., would agree. There's going to be some significantly outsized gains in the gaming sector in this bull run, just like they had a nice run the last bull run, except they're going to be even more mature than this run. And I think AI and other narratives are going to play into that as well. So Illuvium is one of those, not necessarily top 2 or top 3, but one of the front runners with a larger market cap that has potential to do quite a multiple from where it's at now. There was some news that came out regarding them and Epic Games. So they're going to be debuting on the Epic Games store, and essentially, like, there's expectations that a lot of user base is going to come through Epic Games, and that Illuvium is going to swell in size as a result of this partnership, coming through a lot of the games that that Illuvium and Epic collaborate on, essentially. So I'm going to keep it somewhat related with the next one. Let's pop into Sandbox. So those of you that were around last cycle, Sandbox is essentially one of the top 2 metaverse projects from the last run that is still around. And it's not really a surprise during the bear market. Obviously, things have fallen off a cliff. Metaverse is still a very early narrative, and Sandbox and Decentraland have been the earliest benefactors of that, but also now they've got a lot of ground to make up coming off the bear market. Essentially, there's going to be new competitors coming in, and likely ones with better graphics, I would imagine. So in order to keep relevancy, they're going to have to use some interesting marketing gimmicks and tactics. So they're using Black Mirror and Walking Dead here as bait. This article on the block says, to spur land sales. So they're launching a new cinematic themed neighborhood where buyers of virtual land can build immersive experiences alongside famous Hollywood brands: Walking Dead, Black Mirror, Peaky Blinders. There's a new neighborhood called Cinerama. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. It even says there's Cheech and Chong, Skydance, and Lionsgate have also partners. So there's going to be more coming into this. So essentially, they're trying to merge cinema buffs and movie fan base into the metaverse to give them a reason to interact and buy land, and stick around in the Sandbox compared to other places. Will it work? I think to some extent it might, as long as the experiences can be done well enough. Usually movie buffs, I would imagine they're the type of person that would enjoy spending hours and hours of time interacting with their favorite movies and shows and whatnot, content around that digitally online. Are they going to want to do it in the Sandbox? Maybe if they do it well enough, we'll see if it works out for them. But it's interesting, the approach that they're taking to try to get users like this. I thought it was worth mentioning. So, moving right along. Polygon. So, I thought this was a little interesting. It kind of went under the radar with all of the ETH rally today. But Polygon partnered with NEAR Foundation, if you're familiar with the NEAR token. And they've unlocked liquidity for WASM chains, WASM chains. So essentially layer 2, they're expanding the Polygon ecosystem and creating more interoperability between the WebAssembly chains and Ethereum. So Essentially more bridges, right? This route or this bull run, there's going to be a lot of these partnerships. For instance, Cardano and Polkadot just did one, a variety of others. But essentially, cross-chain is the way to grow rather than competing directly with each other. So essentially, every chain is going to want to integrate with Ethereum and cross-integrate with each other as best they can to interoperate. And that way users, liquidity, and assets can move freely between all of them. And if you're trying to do it all on your own and not being interoperable when most of the other chains are embracing the many players in the market and we work with each other rather than competing directly with each other, it's not going to work out well for those that aren't putting emphasis on working with other projects and partnerships. So it's nice to see that Polygon and NEAR are working together on this. I think it'll bring even more liquidity, and obviously that's why they did it. And it's be interesting to see what else Polygon has up their sleeve, considering they're the largest layer 2 on Ethereum. So I expect there to be probably a few more announcements like this coming, not too distant future, or at least in the coming months ahead. So moving on, Circle released version 2.2 for their USDC stablecoin and also the EURC stablecoins. So apparently there's lower gas fees, better security, etc. So it's interesting that they are upgrading this. I think the biggest thing is probably gas, but they say there's increased security for transactions on EVM blockchains. So cross-chain as things are moving around, you're supposedly a little bit safer as well. There's not a whole lot about this, but it's good to see that they're continuing to do upgrades to this. It'd be interesting to see after Circle goes public, they're planning an IPO. That was mentioned, I believe it was earlier this week or the week before, but be interesting to see once they're IPO'd and once CBDCs are actually in the market to some extent in different countries, if there's going to be some sort of upgrade that has even more controls and whatnot, capital controls built in for USDC in the US market. I think it's more likely to happen in EURC first, just how legislation and things are developing there, but nonetheless, some interesting food for thought. What is version 3.2 going to be like? What kind of capital controls could there be in there? And are we still going to want to use USDC as much as we do now, or are we going to pivot more to USDT or some other stablecoin as a result of it? So, food for thought. Next up, Celsius. I thought this was rather interesting. Celsius, the lender, the crypto lender, is finally exiting their bankruptcy. So they have a creditor-approved plan now for partial reimbursement and make them shareholders in a new company. So that's the part that interests me. I'm not so surprised that $2 billion is going to go back in reimbursement to people who lost their money, but the path forward and that's the part that interests me. So it says they'll also receive shares in a reorganized company, which will be called NewCo. Under the plan, around $2 billion in Bitcoin and Ether will be redistributed to Celsius creditors along with equity in NewCo, hopefully by the end of the year. So NewCo will expand existing mining operations. It will also monetize the liquid Celsius assets and conduct other developmental activities subject to regulatory approval. So it looks like they're moving forward. And I did hear that they're actually working on a fundraiser, that a fundraiser is happening going forward as well. So NewCo could actually be a new Celsius and rather just some modified version of what it used to be that isn't quite working in lending anymore, but more so in other ways. But be interesting to see how this develops once the bankruptcy exit has taken place, like towards the end of the year. That is all paid out, and we'll see what Nuco looks like in this bull run, if it's going to be something worth using, or people are going to steer clear. So popping back over. So I thought this was interesting as well. So Blur token doubles as NFT market picks up. So leading NFT marketplace facilitated nearly 170 million of trades in the past 4 weeks. Blur is seeing a huge increase in volume, and the Blur token surged 150% as well. So yeah, I mean, this isn't super surprising considering ETH rallied and Bitcoin started to pick up again. A lot of people said NFTs are dead, they're not coming back, it was just a fad. Other people are on the complete opposite side of the fence and have been scooping up all through the bear market, waiting for the bull market again. Personally, I'm somewhere in the middle, but nonetheless, volume has picked up, and let's pop over to Blur and just look at some of the activity here. So on a 7-day, some of the larger, more popular collections have seen a move up. I don't think it's smaller collections. I think it's just some of these well-known collections that were around last cycle that people are moving back into in anticipation of rallies. So Azukis are up 20% plus on the 7-day. Clone X 24%, almost 25%. Mutant Ape 4%, but it did rally the week before. Pudgy Penguins 5%. World of Woman 38%. Other Azukis are moving. Moonbirds 10%. So Cool Cats 112%. So there is some movement going on in the NFT space for sure. Do I think it all is clear for NFTs like across the board right now? No. The big projects and the blue chips, so to speak, I think we'll start seeing moves up from here gradually, not all at once, but in little spurts for each project. And I wouldn't be surprised if they start dropping sub-collections or releases now that things are starting to warm up again, probably over the next 6 months, moving into the post-halving when things will be moving a lot more when it comes to Ethereum. So yeah, I just thought it was interesting to touch on that. Didn't want to talk about NFTs too long, but nonetheless, so just gonna pop back here. All right. Yeah, so this is it's the first live stream that I'm doing on this channel. I'm not going to do any Q&A on this one. This is more or less just a test to see if everything worked out well. Next time I'll open up the chat and invite some people so we got a live audience. Yeah, overall things are looking good. Let me know if you want more news, if you want more Twitter, if you want more charts, if you want more NFT stuff. What do you want to see going forward in addition to more of my take on things in depth beyond this short little stream as they're developing in the market? Let me know in the comments. Get at me on Twitter. The link's down below for that as well, however you want to get at me. But yeah, let me know. Before I jet, I'm just going to take one last look at the Bitcoin Ethereum charts, and then we'll call it for today. So pop back over to Bitcoin charts. How are we looking right now, man? All right, so after retracement from about the 38,000 level back down to 35.8, we're hopping around 36.5 now. It's still looking bullish in my opinion. We'll see if it holds kind of in this range here, if we manage to pop back up while we're sleeping tonight. But I would expect it to kind of range here a little bit, in my opinion, at least over the next few hours. Depends on when you're watching this. And ETH is still breaking out. So yeah, I think ETH's going to keep moving up at this point. It might be a little bit of a pullback if it cools off, but yeah, I think ETH's going to try to make its way further towards 3,000 in my opinion before we get a serious pullback. So we'll keep an eye on the news for those Bitcoin ETFs and anything else related to ETH, that ETH ETF, and yeah, when there's any major moves, I'll hop on here and talk about it more. But for now, we'll call it for today. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining me on the first live stream. Let me know what type of content you want. Hit that like and subscribe if you want to get notified of more of my live streams as they happen. I'll try to schedule them a little bit before they take place so you're aware. And for those that are in my Telegram, I'll let you know in the Telegram before I go live as well. So appreciate y'all. Stay blessed.